All right, you guys see it? Okay, so do you by any chance see also the side picture of the guy of the I think it's Ferdinand. I can't remember who the guy is, but it's one of the regents of the Aragon family in Naples. You don't see the big picture, right, on the left, right? No. All right. So, but I'm going to go over it, and then I'm going to talk about it. But what happens in here is this: is that this this face in here has specific wrinkles, right? So, as a general rule, think of this: think that the wrinkles, right? This is the muscle, right? This is the muscle, right? The direction of the fiber of the muscle, right? The wrinkles of the muscle, the created by the muscle, will be perpendicular to the direction of the fiber of the muscle. So this meaning when I left, you see my face in here on the screen. When I do this, right? I do this. Actually, let me get you quickly a map where I show you all the muscle, right? So this is the frontalis muscle, right? The frontalis muscle. When the fibers are pinched, because this is the point of origin, this point of insertion, the point of origin is fixed. The point of insertion moves up toward the insertion. So as I lift the forehead muscle, means that this muscle here pulls up the skin of the forehead like this and makes me do this kind of wrinkly expression here. There is another muscle in here, right? This muscle here moves down, brings down the eyebrow, right? There is another muscle under here, which we don't see, moves in like this, right? And this kind of gives you exactly this look here. Let me get my glasses back on. So now I have up here, right, in the figure, a series of wrinkles in here, just barely visible. And I'm going to show you later again the image, right, of the sculpture. And these wrinkles in here, clearly, because they are directed this way, tell me that the frontalis muscle is involved. It lifts the forehead up like this. At the same time that it does that, I have here these wrinkles coming in like this, perpendicularly, meaning this wrinkle will be created by this muscle under here that's called corrugator, the forehead corrugated. So complex, very complex description of a facial expression, right? And here comes in like this. So these wrinkles in here are created by the corrugator, right? Corrugator muscle. This wrinkle is here by the frontalis, and this muscle in here, one pulling this way, one pulling this way, create around it a sort of kind of converging of wrinkles in here, right? So now at the same time, I have here, right, the brow ridge, the eyebrow, sorry, going up like this, right? Going up like this way, right? Which means that is the frontalis lifting up, not the whole, so basically the frontalis is a muscle that is this wide, right? But in this case, only this portion of the frontalis is used, because this portion here is not. If I would use the whole frontalis, the whole eyes would kind of open up like this, right? But if I do this, right, and bring this up, it means that I'm using only the frontal part of this muscle here, like, oh, sorry, the central part, right? So then I see around here, right, you have the eyes are here, right? And I have here a little bit of wrinkling in here and wrinkling in here, right? And wrinkles all around here, right? So this muscle here around the eyes is called orbicularis oculi, right? The muscle that orbitates around the eye. So the fiber are concentric. So when I close the eye, right, you're gonna have all these, like when you can pull a string on one of those purses that you pull the string, right? Create wrinkles all around like this. Same thing in here, As the orbicularis fibers of the orbicularis oculi kind of close up, then you're going to have wrinkles that are going to go perpendicular to the direction of the fiber of the muscle. Makes sense, right? And here, at this level here, I have the, here, a little bit of bulging of flesh in here and here, right? Here. And this is when you're about like, about to cry or something, like kind of, the nose goes up a little bit, right? But just barely, because meaning this is a prince, right? This is a noble, this is a powerful man. So you don't want to, he doesn't want to be seen like the Burde were screaming, but that was acceptable for a woman. But if you notice, all the men in the composition are always suffering in a very composed way. All the women are letting out emotion very, very unapologetically and very strong, right? So that really gives you a little bit it's a commentary on gender roles, right, of the time. So so now the lips in here are slightly pursed up like this, right? Just a little bit, right? Just a little bit, coming up a little bit, meaning there's also a little bit of the lifting of the upper lip and lifting of the wings of the nose. That is a specific muscle. There's a muscle here, this muscle here that goes from here down to here, right? This muscle here is called lifter of the upper lip and of the wings of the nose. Levator labius superioris aliquo nasis, right? This a long phrase for that. But this muscle lifts the nostrils and lifts the upper lip. And in this case in here, that kind of action of this specific muscle is beautifully rendered. Now, going on like this, we see how the lower lip is slightly more poutier, more pronounced coming out, more on the upper lip, because what happens in here, the chin is kind of pouting and pushing up the pillars of the mouth, right? Like almost like pouting. See that? So now the lips, the muscle of the chin come up a little bit like this, pushing up in here, creating a deeper fold, right? Deeper fold in here because of the pouting of the chin, right? So it's a pouting though that is barely contained, but it is contained. It is contained. That was, I guess again, this is a powerful man. A powerful man will not cry, right? It will suffer. It will show a suffering that is existential, that is based on theological reasoning, but not emotional. That's for the women. That was these. This is a common thing that you have. I'm guys, I don't agree with that, right? But this is the time, right? This is how people were depicted at the time. So you know, even Freud with the hysteria and everything, right? It's not recent, it's kind of recent, right? So, but now we see how the study of these facial features here, the representation of this figure in here is very realistic. And there is a very good understanding, if not necessarily of the anatomy, because the description of this muscle here at a very high level of detail, we had to wait for Leonardo to do that kind of, which is not far away from this. Actually, probably the same time when Leonardo was studying anatomy, this work was made at the same time. But Leonardo was not really publishing books, right? But there's a deep study, understand of a emotional, the emotional people and how they are represented, because in some cases these emotions are very subtly evoked, right? So it's still incredibly incredible to me how these works were so precise in describing such a complex emotions, right?